I don't know if it happens to you, but when you go running or jogging, like your mind start to think about different stuff, or you start daydreaming, or you start looking at people or staring at people or staring, like, I don't know, like the sky or whatever, and you start to see the things in a different way. And why am I saying this is because while I was running, I was having some ideas about when I want to retire, what do I want to do for my life. If you think you are lost and you don't know what to do, and you're young, you're in your 20s or 30s, well, let me tell you, I'm 45 years old and sometimes I have the same thoughts. But anyway, so I was running and I was looking at the people who was running in the morning. That was yesterday morning. And I saw some interesting things. So first of all, the most of people who go run in the morning, regardless of their pace or the type of running or they're walking, most of the people are, let's say, more older people than younger people. I guess younger people are not a early bird, as what we like to call. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what was the difference, or maybe they went earlier than me, or maybe they go a little bit later than me. That is not actually so late because I was there running about 7:15 a.m. That is just about the sunrise here in Singapore. So it was just nice. The temperature is not too hot yet. Around 9 it start getting very hot. So anyway, I start to look at people running, right? And sometimes I see how some people run weird, how some people run. You can see that, like, they run and they stop, and they run and they stop, and then start to wonder, what are you doing? Are you training for something, or you just don't know what are you doing? And then basically you start to run, but you have no condition. Then you need to stop. Many things, but there were a few very interesting things. So let's hold your thoughts here. I saw this guy who, when I was running on a specific direction, he was running on the opposite direction. And when I turned back to come back, I met him again somewhere else, not in the exact half point. But when I saw him coming, I saw like something weird on his feet. And basically, he was not wearing shoes. He was wearing some sort of, how do we call it? Slippers, flip-flops, sandals for running. And how can I describe them? The best way to describe them, it was they look like some slippers, that you slip through and then it goes between your toes, but they look like these Crocs because they look like plastic. And he was running, and funny thing, he didn't sound clacking, he didn't sound weird, but when I saw him passing, I'm like, whoa, is this guy running in Crocs, or is this guy running on slip-ons or flip-flops or slant sandals, whatever you want to call? And then when I saw him back, I said, oh, this is the same guy. So I tried to look at him, and he was actually running with those slip-on shoes, like Crocs. Then I think there are some minimal shoes. They were not the barefoot shoes that even have the shape of the toes. It was not that one because I could see his toes, and he was flying. This guy was like, if I was doing like a pace of maybe, I think I did about 6:25 per kilometer. I run 5 kilometers. I think this guy was going way faster. This guy was maybe on the 5:50, 5:30 per kilometer. And that was not the only one, because when I keep running, then I saw a guy that he was all wet. I don't know if because he was sweating a lot, or maybe he got into the ocean maybe, and he was running barefoot. And I was, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. I mean, you want to see it from a natural perspective. I mean, when humans were created, we didn't, like, when they didn't make us the need to have shoes in order to walk, right? But since we have been wearing shoes for the longest time, so of course our soles become very sensitive. But this guy was flying as well with no shoes. So that was interesting. These two people running, with one without shoes, another one with some weird shoes, that if you guys are watching this video, let me know what is that shoes are for, because I haven't looked for, but I'm sure there is some weird minimal kind of thing. And then something else happened, something funny happened after. I run my 5 kilometers. I stopped the usual spot that I stopped, and I was stretching a little bit. And then this guy came forward, and then he was talking to me. He was an old dude, and we started talking about things. And I don't know what he started asking me about. I don't know. We talked about sports, and then he started asking about Premier League. That, by the way, look, I have a very nice Manchester City jersey. But he starts talking about sports here in Singapore. They follow the Premier League, and then he was asking me something about if I follow or not, and I told him that I do like sports, but I'm not really into any league. I just follow all of them, and I just like some teams, some players, whoever win, I'm good with it. And then he said that he was used to be a very big fan of the Premier League. I think it was the Liverpool. So we start talking about that sometimes they bring the teams here to Singapore to play. I remember I went to a game, it was Liverpool against Crystal Palace. So they just come here for friendlies and training, and of course to make some money, the clubs. And then things kind of keep talking about it. We talk about sports, and then we start talking about Formula One. And then we start talking that it was funny because he has never been in a Formula One Grand Prix here in Singapore. I've been here 10 years, and I think I've been in at least 7 Grand Prix. And then funny thing that I was talking, he never went to one of the races. To what he started to mention that he have heard that the tickets are getting too expensive. So then I start to tell him like, well, it's not just that it's getting too expensive because it's very popular. It's also because you cannot find tickets because a lot of people are buying them. Like a lot of people who before they were not interested on Formula One, now they're interested. But many of these people are not interested at all. They just go because they are some sort of, I don't know, celebrities, or maybe they are like YouTubers. They just go to make videos. But at the end, and I follow some of them, of course, some of them are pretty girls, some influencers, but they don't really care about the sport. They just go there because it's good content for them. And maybe, I don't know if they can make some contacts to make more content about something else, or they just want to be trendy, of course. I mean, what will make more good content? Fernando just sitting talking about cars, or a pretty lady in a dress in front of a Formula One car. So yeah, and a lot of these people, they go to F1. Some of these people, they buy it, or some companies buy the tickets for them to go. But the point here is, like, the end, people like me who are really interested, we cannot go anymore because they spoil the market. Like the tickets are more expensive because it's more popular, also because of Netflix series, but also because all these people, all these influencers, that they don't care about the sport, they go, and there's no more tickets for us, right? Anyway, my main point of today's video is that, as I mentioned before, this weekend is my marriage, my ROM. ROM stands for something of marriage. What is the R for? I don't remember what's the R. So it's my ROM. Cheryl and I, we're not planning like a wedding on the church or anything. We are not religious at all. So we're just going to sign the papers actually here in my studio, as I say. And because of that, it's on Saturday. Then my mom came to visit. And my mom is the best mother in the world. So we have been taking care of her. She has been sleeping a lot. We go showing her places. So it's nice. It's nice to have my mom here. Too bad that part of my family couldn't come because it was just kind of a, not last minute, but when Cheryl and I, we planned that we can get married, at least the civil marriage, to make it legal. I say, why to wait? We don't need to book an expensive hotel. We don't need to hire a band, and then the food and the flowers and the grooms and the bride side and the tea ceremony, all these things. We say we don't need it, so we can just do it anytime we want. And then we plan it. We plan it in March, that we should do it in August. And this coming Saturday is the day, 8th of August. That is just before the National Day. And in Chinese culture as well, the 8th of the 8th is a very good number. So I guess it's a good thing. So it's 8th of the 8th. And on top of that is before National Day, so we will never forget. By the way, National Day here in Singapore is pretty big thing. It's like a lot of celebrations and fireworks, and there's preparations for 3-4 weekends in advance. They do fireworks often, and then the militaries fly their airplanes and the choppers, and there's marching, and it's pretty nice, and a lot of music. Yeah, but that's one of the most important things that I wanted to mention that is happening. So I need to plan more things to bring my mom around. I have a lot of plans. So that's why actually last week I was not able to do the video. First, I was busy with work, and then the day that I wanted to do the recording, that is my deadline is on a Thursday. Then my mom was flying on Thursday, so I couldn't make enough time. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, just to make some fun content, I think I did a video about this before in TikTok, and it's something called, I call it different. I call it things that I cannot live without. So I did one, check it out in my TikTok or my Instagram. But now what I have seen is people doing videos about 5 things worth every penny. And of course I have more than 10 items that worth every penny. But I made a short list of 5 to 6 things because it's 5 things worth every penny. So I made a list of 5, and I'm going to, how do I say it? I'm going to assume, for example, for me, at this age and after experience with iPhones and without before iPhone existed, and I was not an iPhone user for a while, then I became an iPhone user. So one of the things that I think is worth is to have an iPhone, and I think it's worth to have the ecosystem of the iPhone, that it works flawlessly. You have an iPad and an iPhone, and you can get calls on both sides. If I make a note here, you can see it there. If you can have the iCloud, and a lot of things are awesome. So I'm assuming that you have cool things like that or a good phone. So if you have a Samsung, I guess no one is perfect. You know, it's not a crime to have bad taste. Yeah, 5 things worth every penny. And I put number 1 is not in order of importance, and is a good set of earbuds or a headset. Yeah, so you can listen to music. So when you go out and maybe you're in the train, you can watch your movies. You're not disturbing other people. And again, as I come back to the Apple thing, I do have a AirPods Pro 2. They're very good. I love them. And also have the Beats Pro, I think, for running. And because they're in the same ecosystem, it's easy to configure. And if you have your iPad here and then you just change to your phone, then the sound just move immediately. If you are going to use the sound on the other one, if you are still like looking at a movie here, you just want to reply a message, it doesn't move. I don't know how they do it, but it's cool. I also have a headset, like a big headset. I have a Bose. I think they're awesome. The noise cancellation is great. Sometimes I'm in my computer in a meeting using those one because my AirPods Pro are without battery. And I just put like the noise cancellation to the max, and I cannot hear anyone around me. Sometimes they are like knocking on my door. Hey, we're calling you for dinner. And I'm like, okay. The battery lasts for a long time. The quality is great. I still have it after almost 8 years. I just changed the foam because it started to disintegrate. But other than that, the foam was very cheap, like $20. Then another thing worth every penny is a good pair of socks. Socks, yeah. I would say more important when you go for training or for running. So a good pair of socks, it can cost between $15 to $25, $30. And you need to pay one. You think they're expensive, you prefer to go to Shopee, or you go to the cheapest store, you just buy a pack of 5 for $10 or less. But no, it's not the same. You need to invest on your socks, your feet. You know, it's like your pillow. You put your head every night. How expensive is your head? Same with your feet. If you want to run nicely, you have good socks. But of course, you don't need to break the bank with the socks. It's just a tool. And that doesn't mean that if you spend a lot of money on socks, doesn't mean you're going to run faster or be better or stronger at the gym. But it's a good investment. Your feet are not sweating, it's cushion, is you don't get blisters. Socks. Another thing of the 5 things, this is number 3, is an electronic door lock. We have here one at home. I think it's a Yale branded. It's great because it has Bluetooth capabilities and whatnot. So it has a lot of features. For example, my mom just came and we just gave her a small token that is configured. So you just like pass it in front of the lock and it opens the door. You don't need a key. But it is like a small card, very thin. You can put it on your pocket. Then in my case, I use biometric. I use my finger. So I configure my 2 fingers, left and right, in case one hand is busy. Works great. For Cheryl, she has configuring on her phone. And because her phone is using the app and the app has geolocation and there's a bridge here inside the house that it recognizes together everything. So when she gets close to the door, then it recognizes that it's her through her phone and it unlocks the door. So that's great as well. So you don't need hands. Then also you can put a pin. So we have a pin for one of the helpers who sometimes come and clean the house. We give her a one-time pin so she can put the pin once. She enters, she cleans. When she leaves, she cannot enter anymore. There's also pins, like you can just leave a pin forever, like Cheryl's mom. Cheryl's mom has a pin that is just for her. She put her pin, she get in, get out, get in every time that she wants. And on top of the app, we can see all the activity. So we can see who entered with what credentials. So, I mean, if you need to know who comes to your house, and it's very, very, very practical. And you don't need to carry keys. Like even now, cars don't even have keys. Like if you have a Tesla, it's just an app. Some other cars, just a fob. So you need a key ring. It's great for me. Sometimes I even go out even without the phone because I have an Apple Watch and I can make calls and I can do everything with that, mostly everything. So yeah, electronic door, it's pretty cool. One of my favorite things that I use for number 4, I would say you should spend on a membership. It's called a membership. No, it's just pay for the GenAI application. Just pay for ChatGPT or for the Gemini or for Grok or for Claude. Just pay the monthly fee and use all the features. Use it as much as you can. Use it for learning. Use it for investigating. Use it to do your homework. Use it to learn things as well. You know, for example, I use it for coding. I use Claude at work, but also in my free time, I have a ChatGPT paid version for my personal use, and I use it for a lot of things. For example, when I'm playing Destiny, I try to make my builds using ChatGPT because you can connect and check in a lot of websites at the same time, and you can get the best perks for your armor and whatnot. I use it to take care of my plants. Sometimes you get some suggestions, and I put alarms or notifications. You know, like she reminds me. I mean, ChatGPT reminds me. I call her a she. I think ChatGPT for me is a woman. Her voice is a women voice, so that's why it's a she. So I use it for a lot of things. I also use it to plan my trips. I use it to create a notification for when I do my investments also. So like every Sunday is checking on the market, also specific stocks and other stuff. And then you just give me like a executive summary of things, and then I can act accordingly. Of course, it gives me some advices some days about what to do and what not. And of course, you always have to use your common sense about these apps, because I think so that even by now in 2026, there's still some bias on these apps. I'm sure that they are not 100% like I don't know, unbiased. But yeah, you should get one of those. Then now point number 5 of 5 things worth every penny is a PlayStation 5. And why you need a PlayStation 5 is because why not playing video games? You know, if you spend your time at home, one of the things that people have seen, there's a lot of studies that when people play video games, it helps to nurture your brain about problem solving, for example. I mean, not of course if you play Mortal Kombat all the time, but there's other games that helps you to problem solving. And even Mortal Kombat, of course, you have to be careful to if you have kids, which games they play. But I think PlayStation 5 is great. I mean, if you're an Xbox, yeah, sure, go on. I would not go with a computer gaming because you have to spend a lot of money and the maintenance of getting new video cards and whatnot. I think it's expensive. That's why I got rid of my gaming computer and I started using PlayStation 5 when it was released at the somewhere in 2020. Was that? I think so. I think so. As I told to my friend Easy, it's like, remember this: spend money to save money. And then you will ask yourself, you start saying, Fernando, well, what the hell are you saying? Why the hell are you saying spend money to save money? So pay attention to this. So you go and you go to the store and you think, oh, PlayStation 5, how much? Now it's cheaper. There's a $600 version, say 600 Singapore dollars. And you say 600, but that's so expensive. But no, it's not that expensive, because if you start thinking about it, let's say every weekend you go out and you meet your friends and you go for drinks and you ate outside, and then at least you spend, if you go out once, at least you spend $100 to $150 because you have to take a taxi to come back and it's late, and you bought some beers and then you're hungry, and then you come back and then the next day you have a headache and you spend 150. If you do that for 4 weekends, it's already $600. So the point is here, like, if you go and buy the PlayStation, you won't be able to go so often out because you spend the money on the PlayStation. So now you're saving money by not going out. You get it? You get it? It's a very good idea. Then you have to play, you have to buy games also. If not, then how do you do it? Then you have to buy the PlayStation Network if you want to play online games. You have to then buy another controller if you want to play with your friends or your family at home. And that's an extra. It's more, you can stay at home, be with your family, don't be out all the time. So yes, spend money to save money. But of course you have to go out and talk to people and go to the gym and whatnot. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's not just like, you have to have a balance in your life. Well, and on top of that, if you don't drink so much because you want to play games, because you want to buy a new controller, or you want to buy a steering wheel for GT7, then you need the money. And then if you need the money, you buy less alcohol. And drinking alcohol is not the best idea. I know it could be fun sometimes, but it's not the best. And you will thank me later when you have less hangovers. And then again, you spend time at home, but don't be an ass at home and do your chores. Help your family at home to do your stuff. Your mom, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, help them to clear up the house. Anyway, so those are the 5 things: a good set of earbuds, socks for exercising, electronic door lock, a Gen AI app, and a PS5. And I have a special mention for one more thing. And this thing is a gym membership, but not just any gym membership. And then you start to think, why not any gym membership? So pay attention, pay attention. Come close, come closer. Oh, I cannot bring the camera closer, but you come closer. Put your phone close to you. Look at me. Get closer. Because if you go to any gym, if you go, let's say, to the normal Gold's Gym, you just go there, you see all the machines. I mean, the place is huge. Every single machine, there is some classes on the studios, but you don't know what to do. Then basically you pay money and you are wasting your money. That's not saving you any money, because you go there and you don't do anything. You start like with all the energy of becoming strong and more flexible and more having better jumps and more running and better chest and everything, but you don't know what to do. Then you don't know what to do. Then how? Then you need to buy a personal trainer. But then can you pay that? Maybe not. So which gym you need to join? maybe you need to join a martial arts gym, something like Kyokushin, Shin Kyokushin. Why not? That's what I have been doing for a long time. It builds you some discipline, some character. Also, it helps make you friends because it's a very community kind of thing. You know, everybody who goes there love the same thing. So martial arts war, you can do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's great for everyone, but I would suggest more this for women and for kids. In case you need to defend yourself, mainly for women. Guys want to take advantage of you, or you go outside and then I don't know. So personal defense, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will help you. Would not make you a machine, a killing machine, because if you know when you find yourself in the situation, you might freeze. But it will give you some. It will give you some ways to escape. So I told to my girls at home that they should get into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But of course, who cares what Fernando say? But other gym that you can join is a CrossFit gym. So I've been doing CrossFit for a long time. I mean, I do believe in the CrossFit methodology in a lot of things. Some of the things I done, I do love the community that it makes there, the things that you learn. Like you do complicated stuff like Olympic weightlifting, then you do basic stuff like squats and deadlifts. Then you do more like even advanced stuff like handstand walk and some gymnastic movements like rings, muscle ups, and stuff. So there is a lot of things that you can learn that in some cases, even people have asked me, hey, but why do I need to learn clean and jerk? What does it help my life to learn how to snatch? And I said, first of all, I mean, in order to do a proper snatch, you need to engage into learning complicated movements and mobility drills and how to put a heavy stuff under your head that is dangerous as well. And just uh, just engaging into the activity of doing hard stuff, it clicked different things in your head. When hard things come to your life, things become more simple because you're used to do difficult stuff. And also, you get stronger by doing difficult stuff in CrossFit. In martial arts, the same. You do complicated stuff. You have to kick high. You have to learn the katas. You need to learn the terms. In Kyokushin, we learn in Japanese, so you need to learn how to count in Japanese. So the plasticity of the brain is always moving. You're always learning. Sometimes when you do sparring, you see it. You scare, but you manage uh, to overcome your fears of sparring, and you don't have to like it. Maybe you don't even have to spar. Maybe you learn how to spar, but you don't want to do it, and you don't have to do it. Of course, in Kyokushin, if you don't do sparring, it's kind of very doesn't make too much sense because one of the most important things in Kyokushin, some people will say that it's not true, but it is the actual fighting, the sparring, the kumite part. Of course, you need to learn the katas, you need to learn the discipline, you need to learn the camaraderie, and you need to learn so many things in karate and Kyokushin and martial arts. But I would say the center of Kyokushin is the fight, because Masoyama was, I mean, that's what he was saying. Like you cannot just learn karate and not fight, because the purpose of karate is to learn how to defend yourself. In order to defend yourself, you have to hurt people. You have to understand what is inflicting pain so you can train to build resistance to that pain and become more comfortable with receiving pain and become stronger and make your body stronger, and then you can kick someone ass. Of course, this doesn't mean that you need to become a violent person, and it's actually completely the opposite. I have seen that because of you start to train so much, you become strong, you understand, you know that you can kick ass. It comes to a point that you don't think it's worth to, go in the street and kick asses to everyone. Well, but it happens, and it depends of your stage of life. I remember I had some friends that they just wanted to fight. But I guess it's also is part of one of those stages in life. But yeah, I think uh, I think you should engage in difficult stuff, and you should get a gym membership, uh, karate membership, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu membership, a CrossFit membership. I mean, even an F45 or BFT membership, because those gyms you go and there is already a class. So, at least in my experience in CrossFit, the BFT and F45 is a little bit different. I would say it's a easier, more basic um, yeah, way of going to the gym, but there's always somehow some sort of coach that it will guide you. Not like CrossFit though, but there is someone. It's a class. There's people around. You're not the only one. You're not by yourself, and they give you a machine. A machine they give you on the TV. Sometimes they put what you have to do, and then you go and do your round. But let's come back to the CrossFit play. So why CrossFit is good? That I would say that is very similar to the martial arts, and it's because you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to think, oh, well, when I go to the gym, what am I going to do today? I'm going to train legs. Am I going to train back? And if I want to train legs, what to do? I don't know what to do. So when you go to these gyms, a CrossFit gym, there is already a program, is programmed by a head coach, or they buy the program in somewhere else. And then when you go to the class, there's most of the time a good coach that he will tell you what to do, how to do it, points of performance. When you do it wrong, he asks you how to do it better. He helps you. Also, he guides you in things that maybe you should do or you shouldn't do in order to avoid injuries. And if you have greatest coach there, they even kind of come to the point that they even give you some nutrition tips and other stuff. And then on top of that, you make friends, you become strong. Then I mean, some people have met their girlfriends and boyfriends there. Same like in karate. When we go to karate, we bond so much about something that we all have the same wheel of training karate. And we were like, you kind of like your head is kind of fucked up because you think that it's fun to go and suffer by doing a lot of push-ups and running 10 kilometers and doing like, punching the bag for 5 sets of 3 minutes. Then you cannot breathe. You think you're going to puke. And then after that, you go and you practice some katas. And then at the end of the practice, you're going to do some sparring. And then people punch you in the stomach. And you're like, oh, and it hurts. And then you kick someone's leg. And the person, oh, and then you both stop. And at the end, okay, good. You bow, you say, oosh. And then you say, wow, this was great. This was fun. So when I was talking with this guy, when we were at the running, he was a little bit drizzling. So he started talking about the weather, and we talk a lot about the weather. And then when I was walking back home, it was funny because when I was at the lift, I met one of my neighbors, and they start talking about the weather. It's so hot and stuff. And I'm like, why everybody just speak about the weather? And it's not everyone. It's just, I don't know, old people or adults. Have you seen that adult topics is always about weather and things like that? I mean, some other adults will talk about, I don't know, their kids, or they will talk about politics or stuff. But you will see when you become an adult, you're going to start talking about the weather. And then I start to think, why we always have to talk about the weather? Why adults we don't talk about unicorns and dragons? Yeah, and that's exactly how I wanted to close this episode, saying that next episode we're going to talk about unicorns and dragons. Look about my friend Unicorn here. Is it not cute? Is so fluffy I'm gonna die? This body here is a unicorn, and I have another one there. And there is a lot of things to talk about unicorns and dragons, these mythical creatures that they don't exist, but we wish that they exist. And if I had a dragon, I think I want like a gold orange dragon, just like Smaug from Lord of the Rings. Even if he has a voice like that, that would be cool. but he doesn't need to speak. He could be like a cat, that they don't need to speak, but they kind of understand. So yeah, what would be the name of your dragon, and which color would the dragon be? That's your homework for next time. Okay, bye.